My name is Faige Radulansky. I was born in 1929 in the Vinnytsia region of Ukraine in the big shtetl, Digovka. My father, Pinkas Milman, was a furniture maker and a carpenter. My mother, Riva Merson, was a well-known seamstress. I was 11 or 12 when the war began and my family was told to evacuate. We walked to Tomaspil, about 30 kilometers from Digovka. It was summer and very hot. We were so tired and dirty. In the morning, we came to the train station of Tomaspil. We knew we had to leave Tomaspil to go east. We had no idea how we will go, where we will go, how we will get to where we will be going. I looked at other refugees. They were covered with dirt. How could people recognize each other? Then I realized that's how I looked also. We all looked the same, a dirty mass of people. There were Red Army soldiers among us. They also were moving east because the Germans were advancing. Suddenly, someone started waving at us. 3 women who were sisters and 7 children. It was my mother's brother, Uncle Senya, who was in the Red Army. He asked his commanding officer for a few moments to say goodbye to his sister and their children. Maybe he will never see them again. He looked so fresh and clean in his uniform. He was handsome and strong. He hugged and kissed us, and we were so happy to see him. We were hugging and kissing and screaming and yelling, and without warning, German airplanes started bombing the train station. My uncle picked up the small children and carried us to hiding place. The Germans advanced so rapidly. They took over the train station before we could escape. In the commotion, Uncle Senya's military unit left without him. He became a deserter by default. We returned to Digovka, and Uncle Senya came with us. Soon we began hearing horror stories about the German unit, the sondercommando, which came to Jewish shtetls and murdered people. Uncle Senya had a plan. He told us about a village, Filizanivka, in the middle of the forest. He said, "It is so small, it's not even on the map. There are only 6 or 7 Jewish families living in that village. The Germans will never even know that there is such a place. It is there that we will plan to hide." One day we were playing in the yard. Uncle Senya had gone out to look for food. A Ukrainian woman came to us and said, "Please go tell your mother that the Germans are already on the other side of the town and they will kill you all. Go tell your mother." This woman was speaking Ukrainian, and I still hear those particular words in my mind. I ran to tell my mom. My mother was a very energetic, very assertive woman. She said, "We need to run quickly." She took us a back way. We walked through bushes and forests. Even the youngest children knew they needed to be silent. Suddenly, my mother disappeared. I was terrified. My mom is gone. What happened to her? What will happen to us? What would my life be without my mother? Then I heard her voice saying, "Come here, come here." She had found a hiding place, a huge depression in the earth where it had been dug away. The area was covered with small bushes, and we spent the night in this pit. In the morning, we saw a man coming toward us. He saw that we were hiding in this pit. A neighbor of this man called out to him, "Hey, Zontya, do you know the kikes are hiding in your backyard?" And he said, No, you are mistaken. There is nobody there." He saved our lives. We stayed hiding in the pit. We heard shots and screams. It was a German sondercommando at work. We knew it would be our fate too if we were found. Then a small dog came to our hiding place. She sat nearby and barked. Again, we thought we would be discovered. The same man came back to our pit. He grabbed his dog and took her with him. He saved our lives once more. We had been hiding in the pit for 2 days, and we were cold and very hungry. A woman who lived nearby brought us fresh bread and potatoes, water, and buttermilk. She had a house full of young children, and she risked her life and the lives of her children by bringing us food. Anyone could denounce her. She went to check whether the sondercommando were still in the town. When she returned, she said, "Everything is quiet." When we went back home, everything was quiet like a cemetery. Older people had been murdered by the sonderkommando, and younger people rounded up. It was a strange, scary quiet. Uncle Senya came out from his hiding place. A neighbor told him not to go to our family house. She said, "They are not home. They all ran away into hiding." I think that Uncle Senya thought we ran toward Felizyanivka, so he went there himself. He had thought it was such a small place that the Germans would never find it, but they did. They were already there. Uncle Senya fell into the trap. All 6 or 7 Jewish families and my uncle were murdered there. He was such a big, strong man. We were told it took several bullets before he even fell to the ground. And then they shot him some more to make sure he was dead. My mother was assigned to work in the fields, and I went with her. This agricultural work was supervised by the polizei. They were indifferent to people's needs. They beat people, never gave out any food or water. If someone dies, too bad. While we marched to the fields, my mother would run off and knock on the door of some house and ask, "Can you spare any food? My children are so hungry, they might die of starvation." One day my mother saw a loaf of freshly baked bread cooling on the windowsill of a house. The woman opened the door, and my mother started to ask for food, and then saw that there were many young children in the house. My mother said, No, I cannot take this loaf of bread. You have a big family. You have small children." And the woman said, "Don't worry about that. See, I have some flour. I have some yeast. I'm going to bake more bread for my family. You take this loaf." My mother brought this loaf of bread to us. She gave everyone standing near us a small piece of bread. That's how my mom always was. She was always thinking about other people. Some Ukrainians became Nazi collaborators. Some were indifferent to us, and some actually saved us. It was a matter of luck. We were lucky that we were among good people. That's how we survived. There was not enough good people to save everyone.